Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another show of Inspirate Business, where we're here to inspire, to empower, and to enlighten you. And you are going to know who we have as the next guest. Someone who is very familiar to you on the Hilaal TV airwaves, somebody who has impacted me on a personal level. I used to train with him at one stage, and I know many do, but he's doing so much more. And I think everybody would want to know the backstory behind our guest. Welcome, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and we welcome you to the Inspirate Business Show. It is your first time. Mohamed Cassim, better known to the viewers as Motivation with an E. Brilliant. It's such a pleasure to have you on.
Assalamu alaikum, Yusuf, man. It's so wonderful to be here on the hot seat, the famous hot seat that everyone, so many businessmen have sat on here. Your show is always inspirational. It's so beautiful to be here with you.
And I've been wanting to have you for a while. I mean, we've been watching you, your meteoric rise on the airwaves. You started about a year and a half with interviewing some esteemed guests, doing this motivation, and such importance for motivation to keep you in that positive state. But you are a lot more to that, right? People know you as this high energetic person, but there's a lot more to you, right? And I want to understand that. I mean, I know you do a lot of youth development. I know you do a lot of executive coaching, and you do schools programs besides your training from a physical perspective. And we're going to talk a lot about that. But as we do with each guest, there's a backstory behind Mohamed Cassim. I know you were born, you grew up Azaadville, right?
That's correct.
Schooled in Azaadville.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was born in Azaadville. My parents moved there in 1981. I was born in 1982. So born, bred, grew up. Azaadville was everything I knew. It was an amazing place. Loved the community. Amazing sports vibe.
Yes.
And I think that was a key aspect to me growing up. Growing up on the sports field, my dad was a keen sportsman, so we were always on the sports field, and it creates a mindset from a very young age, a healthy competitive mindset. So it always pushes you to want to be your best. It always pushes you to go further. I schooled at the Azaadville Islamic School, Azaadville Muslim School as it's known as. I was the head boy there in 1998 as well.
Wow.
But a phenomenal school which then planted the seed of Islam in me. And it made me understand the importance and the values of Islamic ethos going through life. So you combine this positive mindset and this sporting competitiveness, and you combine it with this Islamic ethos, and all of a sudden you feel motivated on a daily basis to just get up and be the best version of yourself, whether it is in this world or building up for the next world as well.
I mean, you talk about Azaadville and names come to mind. Uncle Suli Bayat,
Yes.
who was a stalwart, right, in the sporting arena. So you played soccer as well as cricket?
Yeah, so in the winter we played soccer, in the summer we played cricket. It just worked like that.
And I mean, back in the day, Azaadville United would be playing in the Bosmont Football League. Is that where you also played?
That's where I started with the under sixes. Actually have a lovely picture of my brother and I on the soccer field there. BFA written. I was a goalkeeper from the start. My
So
dad.
you fell after your dad?
Yeah, my dad inspired me to be a goalkeeper. I was a goalkeeper from the start and pushed on. I enjoyed a career. I played professional football as well. Thoroughly enjoyed being the goalkeeper. And like I said, it was all about that mindset. Little did I know at that age, I always thought it was that competitive edge, but it was building something in that mind that created what it created.
But I mean, that's what sport does, right? And that's what community does. And one thing that Azaadville did, as you mentioned, provide was that sporting codes, working in a team, that camaraderie, and that community development. I talk about this to my kids, and I say that if there's one thing that we lose living in the suburbs now, is that you sometimes don't even know your neighbors.
Yeah.
And whereas in the communities, the neighbor down the road was your father.
Yeah, it takes a community to raise a child, and Azaadville was definitely one of those communities.
Yes, so we all know you as motivation, right? And I say motivation with an E, right? We know you to, I mean, your core business is many youngsters, many business people, some leading medical professionals all go to you at your gym, which is out in Saxonwold,
That's correct.
right? So that's your core business.
Yeah.
Now, how did you end up getting into into that domain?
Well, long story.
No.
Let's start in school first. Standard 8, known as grade 10 now.
Yeah.
And a guy walks into our school. And he comes with this little booklet talking about health and fitness to us. And all we knew health and fitness to be was football and cricket. And that's what we knew health and fitness. We did not know about weightlifting, bodybuilding, the importance of muscle building, nutrition. We were clueless when it came to that. And this guy, I think Mr. South Africa or runner-up, I still remember his name clearly, Paul Carlisle. And he walks in and he's selling these books. He gives us this inspirational talk. And I'm listening to him and I'm thinking, wow, this is what I want to do. And I get this book from him. And in this book is training methods and ways to build your strength up and ways to build your mind up and ways to eat properly. And I go through it and I'm reading it. And of course, there was no time to get to what I needed to do because we had a busy schedule. But every day I would start with some push-ups. And I remember asking my parents also to buy me a small set of dumbbells for my birthday. It was something that was just inside of me, just inside of me. And then fast forward a few years, you go into matric. And unfortunately, just before my matric exams, my parents got divorced. And it was a very tough time.
This was whilst you were doing your matric?
Whilst I was doing just before the exams. So a few months before the exams or a month before the exams. And now I'm sitting in a bit of a emotional dilemma. I'm feeling down, I'm feeling out, I'm feeling unmotivated. You know, the matrix just completed theirs now, and I just did not have the drive to push myself in that exam. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, I passed the exam, and I then went on to study. And I said, okay, I wanted to do something, but I had no guidance at that time. Everyone in the family was going through a tough time. And I decided to do computer programming because it was something that everyone was getting into during that era in the year 99, 2000. It was the computer age and everyone was getting into it. So I got into that. But all in the meantime, the gym was there, keeping me going, keeping me motivated, allowing me to release all this anger, this anxiety, this emotional distress inside of me. And I felt it. I felt it in every single session. I felt that I was allowed to release all of this because no matter what happens, 100 kilos will always be 100 kilos. It will never lie to you. It will never do anything of that sort to you. What it will do is remain true to you. So I pushed on with that, of course, combined with the Islamic ethos of turning to Allah for help.
So you're still living in Azaadville at the time?
Still living in Azaadville
at the time. Are you training at what? I know there was this
the Azaadville Recreation Center,
right,
also known as the Ark. Those in Azaadville will know about it. It's where I started. Unfortunately, the friend who took me to the gym for the first time has now passed on. Allah grant him Jannat. But he took me there, and from that day to this day, I have not missed a training session, which is 20 odd years on. I have not missed a training session. I love it.
So you train every day?
No, I train. Some programs that I do are 5 days a week, and sometimes I do a 6-day-a-week program.
But you've been doing this
But if I was meant to train, I will train. Broken hand, broken leg, I was there, I was training. It's become like breathing for me. And what it has done is it's shown me that no matter how difficult the world can get, when you use resistance against you, you build muscle. When the world gives you resistance, you build character. And you combine those two together, it's a winning formula. So I went on to study programming, went into the corporate world, worked there for, it was about a year and a half. It wasn't for me.
This was after now?
After matric.
Completing your computer programming.
Yes, after completing it. So I think around the year 2002, now I'm sitting in the corporate world, working at a wonderful company, and everyone was enjoying their work around them, but me. Like, I could not see myself sitting, and hats off to those who work in the corporate world. It's difficult to really pick yourself up on a daily basis and motivate yourself to get there. It's incredible what you do, because personally, me being a highly motivated guy, I felt it difficult to find that intrinsic motivation to put myself there. So I one day decided to write a resignation letter with no plans, no net, no safety net, nothing. And I wrote this resignation letter, walked into the CEO's office, gave it to him, and walked out of that job. It was not for me, and I'm a true, firm believer of if you are not passionate about something, then find your passion, work on your passion.
Wow. And let's now, on that note, after the break, find out where this led to, this passion that Mohamed talks about. Where did this lead him to immediately after the break? Welcome back to Inspirate Business, and on our red hot couch, looking absolutely radiant as he always does. The energy that you project is just infectious. I mean, every time I've met you, and this is the work that you've put in, right? This work of like really, like you said, going against the resistance. This of challenging yourself, always putting you out in the realm of uncomfortability. And this is so powerful. Now, you were saying you do this, you quit, again, putting yourself in this without any plan, just having that yaqeen, that faith in Allah. You resign from work as a computer programmer, which in 6 languages you mentioned.
Yes.
And then what?
During this time, unfortunately, my sister loses her husband. He passes away. He was hijacked and shot, so he passed away. So I move out of Azaadville, move in with my sister. She's staying in Johannesburg. Moving with her to try and help her through that difficult period. She has a 1.5-year-old child at the time. Traumatic, absolutely traumatic. And 2 weeks later, I lose my best friend in a car accident. And you wonder, what's happening? The world comes crashing down.
This is the same guy that introduced you to the job?
No, this wasn't the same guy. The guy who introduced me passed away recently, about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And you wonder, what can get worse? And just before that, the Hansi Cronje scandal hit. And that unfortunately had a bad impact on the family as well. So it becomes mental, it becomes emotional, it becomes difficult. And at the same time, you look up and you're in the gym and you're training and you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, there is a way of pushing through this. You're in that squat rack and it's heavy and it's on your shoulders and you're down at the bottom, and all of a sudden you push up and you push through because there's a will, because there's a way, because we have that ability. It was Colonel Hannibal who once was navigating the mountains, the Himalaya mountains, and he had an army of elephants with him. And they said, how are we going to get the elephants over the mountain? He said, we'll make a way. Even if we have to cut our way through that mountain, but we will make a way. And where there's a will, there is a way. And yes, the gym helped me, but turning to Allah was, of course, this is where the Islamic ethos comes in from the Islamic school. Any difficult moment, I just knew my faith was building more and more, that I knew my destiny was written. I knew my destiny was already there. And all Allah wanted to see at that moment in time was my reaction. That's it. Everything that had happened was the decree of Allah. But my reaction would determine my future. And I pushed on. It was, like I said,
so you at the gym, right? But are you a trainer or are you just training at that time?
So as I go on into 2003, I think it was around, I decide I need to find different workouts. I'm getting tired of these workouts. I've read every magazine I could read, books that I've bought, Arnold Schwarzenegger books, and I've gone through all of it, and I know all these workouts, but I need to know more. And I look at getting a trainer to help me take it to the next level. And I mean, the prices were exorbitant for someone who had just quit his job, and it was difficult at the time. So I thought to myself, let me look at what it is to become a trainer. And I looked at the costings of a few courses, and I did a small course with a company, and it was actually cheaper to become a trainer than it was to get a trainer at that point in time. So I said to myself, why not? What's the worst that could happen? I could learn something, and that's it. So I went and I did the small course, and I got the qualification without the intention of making this my life's
So
mission.
you did it more for yourself, right?
More for myself, completely for myself. Because I loved the gym, but I wanted to add different aspects to it. I wanted it to challenge me on different levels. And I went and I learned a lot from that. And as the years went on, training, meeting people at the gym, I used to often see you at the gym as well, and people would ask for advice. What do we do? How do I do this? Can you help me with this? Can I train with you? And I saw an opportunity. I saw a business opportunity. And I said, I have the qualification. There was a premises available at the Splice Apartments in Killarney.
Right.
And the gym became available. And I said, let me take this opportunity. Again, what's the worst that could happen? What if it actually works out?
Yeah, so what year was this?
This was around 2009, 2010,
Okay.
somewhere around there. I can't give you the
So
exact
now
date,
now
but
you formally get into training people.
Training
It's
people.
where I joined you, I think, sometime in the 2013, 2014, somewhere
it was
there.
just
yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
And I get into training people, and people actually come. You know, a lot of people ask a question: what if it doesn't work out? And I like to ask the other question: what if it does work out? We got to look at it from this different light. Why do we wired to this for this negativity? We wired for negative news, negative feedback, everything's negative. We need to change it. We need to flip that script. And that's what I did. I said, what if it does work out? And I started, and alhamdulillah, I mean, we in 2024 now, and it's still going and growing and growing. And I mean, it's just been an epic journey of
You've now
training
moved
individuals.
from Splice to another.
Yes, I've moved during COVID. The Splice Gym closed down for that
Okay.
period of time. And
So you were there, what,
Again,
about 11 years, right?
somewhere around there,
And you're now in Saxonwold.
now I'm in Saxonwold. What it forces you to do when adversity hits again, it forces you to think, and it forces you to create and step out of that comfort zone, which I so firmly believe we all have to do. COVID hits, all the gyms are closed. I'm doing online with a few of my clients. I take a 90% hit on my income for those few months of COVID where we were at the highest lockdown, where all the gyms were closed. I take a 90% hit on my income. And one of the days I'm training one of my clients, and he's got a small piece of equipment on the camera, and I'm looking and I'm giving him a full workout on that one small piece of equipment. And I say, wait a minute, I'm a bit smarter than this when it comes to training. I know that I don't need a fancy gym with lots of equipment. I just need the right piece of equipment that I can train my clients on. And I buy these 4 small pieces of equipment, and I start in a little garage. And I put these 4 pieces there, and alhamdulillah, my clients followed, they came through. And with 4 pieces of equipment, we started in a small little garage that can fit 2 cars in it. We've built up to a 300 square meter gym now in Saxonwold,
Wow.
which is where motivation is based.
Wow. And you have, at any given point, how many clients would you
I
have?
see close on 40 clients a day.
And you do this one-on-ones?
No, so what we do is group sessions, but it's different to the typical group session where everyone does the same routine and you just go in a circle. Each person has an individualized, personalized training program designed for their goals, for their body type, for their age, for exactly what they are looking for. And Allah has blessed me with the ability. A lot of people have asked me how. Really, this is a gift from Allah, and I cannot even give you the answer to how it happens. But the ability to train 20 people at a time, give each one their own workout, make sure each one's doing exactly what they need to do with the right weight, the right amount of reps, the right intensity, all of it. And shukr, people have seen amazing results.
And guys come from as young as what?
Oh, currently, with my youth program running, I've got kids coming from 8 years old to my eldest client at the moment, taking my dad out of this. My eldest client is 62 years old. Wow. So I have a wide range of people from different generations, and that's also allowed me to see life in a very different light and know things from an 8-year-old's point of view to a 62-year-old's point of view.
And I mean, what comes out very strongly is that you're constantly putting yourself out there, constantly learning, right? I mean, you've traveled to places where these are epicenters of the weight training programs, right? Like in, I think, in the far,
Yes.
yeah, is it Thailand, right?
Thailand, yeah.
Yeah, and you're getting also top equipment from the latest technologies, I mean, around dieting, around food, around your body types. This is profound.
So you have to always learn. You have to always learn. But there was a beautiful moment that had happened in my fitness journey. For a long time, I always thought fitness was very body related. Everything was about the body. You know, it was a certain image you needed to have, you needed to lose weight. We all were there, we all are there, we all still looking for that. But there was a moment that it like flipped in my head. And I thought to myself, wait, the mind plays such an integral role in all of this. And what is the mind in control of? It's in control of everything that we do. So we can come here and we can push heavy and we can eat healthy, but if we're feeding our mind with junk, are we truly healthy individuals? And this moment happened about 7 years ago, 7 to 10 years ago, where I started exploring the mind. So my journey of learning stopped with the body at that point and began with the mind. How far can you push the mind? How big and how important is the mind in everything? Why do we do what we do? And I started to try to understand this. And I went through a bit of a situation in my life as well. And as we all do, we go through low moments. And I went into a bit of a depression. And I had to pull myself out of that depression. In those moments, once again, do I get a psychologist or do I become a psychologist? And it was cheaper to become
one. And I know the answer.
It was cheaper to become one. And I went on to study my psychological counseling degree. And alhamdulillah, at the age of 41,
wow,
I got my degree in psychological counseling. And it has helped me tremendously in understanding myself. Because when you put knowledge in, that is the most important thing. But the truth is, knowledge without action is absolutely nothing. So it's vital to put that knowledge into action. But with me, it's always been about giving. I truly believe we were born to give, but we were educated for greed. So I want to give. I want to take my knowledge and share it with as many people. Fitness, body, mind, heart, soul. How do we align all of this? And whatever knowledge I have, I want to share it. The platform I have on Hilaal has allowed me to share it. The clients I work with have allowed me to share it, from the executive leadership programs, which teach people how to understand others, which teach people.
We're going to talk about your executive program, but what's profound, I mean, we come to the end of this segment, is here somebody that is a specialist in the body, is a specialist in the mind, and also, and very importantly, is a specialist on the spiritual level. And with that combination, this is absolutely profound. You've got your 10,000 hours, I believe, in these areas. And that's why we have specialists like these on our Red Hot Couch. After the break, I want to explore the avenues that you play in and what you, as you say, you are there to give to people immediately after the break. Welcome back to Inspirate Business, where we're here to inspire, to empower, and to enlighten you. And on our Red Hot Couch, sponsored by Aza Collective, we have a very famous, infamous, recognizable person, as you know, Motivation, better known to our viewers. Mohamed, as I know him, Mo Cassim, as many do. And he's been sharing his story, and what a profound story. A real specialist. Now, Mohamed, where you are right now, obviously your core business, as you said, you definitely got more than 10,000 hours. I mean, training since the age of 18, 19, really have mastered it. In the last 8 years, have really gone into the mind space. I know you're an avid learner. What the leadership gurus that they talk about, you've studied them in detail, and combining this mind, body, and spirit, and have a very strong spiritual connection, and you feel that. Where is this taking you to now, right? Because as this evolution in your life, and you constantly putting yourself out there, it kind of leads you into various other fields, right? There's, there's some top executives I know that come to you and that you are helping. So are you doing team building and executive coaching? I know there's some youth workshops that you did. I know at the time of COVID, you did some hiking trips with the youth, etc. I mean, where are you playing at?
The motivation umbrella is quite broad at the moment. Alhamdulillah, like I said, it's really taken off. So if you look at it on the whole, we've got the fitness aspect, which we've spoken in depth about, which is the training, the personal training, personalized programs and that. Then I have the youth mentorship program. This program I hold very dear to my heart because it was at that age where someone stepped into our school and changed my life for good. And Alhamdulillah, I've managed to help many other lives because of that. So that youth mentorship program I hold dear to my heart, where I get kids from the ages of 8 to 18 coming in there, and I'm mentoring them.
So they come to your gym?
There's a few that come to the gym. I do online with kids as well, just for them to start understanding from a young age what we did not know. We did not have access to this information. Why we behave the way we behave. What do hormones play a part in our life? Why are we reacting in specific ways? Why does the mind switch from this part to that part? Why are these words coming out of my mouth? Just teaching them themselves and making them understand that you are not the exterior, but you are mainly your interior. You know, when you look into a mirror, the dua, when we look into a mirror, the meaning is so profound, it's so beautiful, where Allah says that after you look into the mirror, when you look there and you say, Ya Allah, beautify my inside as much as you've beautified my outside. So you look in and you see this beautiful form on the outside and you admire yourself. You know, there's days you look good and you're admiring yourself in the mirror. But can you imagine if your inside, your nervous system, your soul, your heart, your parasympathetic, your sympathetic, all of it was beautified as much as your outside is beautified? You'll become an amazing individual. So I try and teach them that. Learn to love yourself, self-worth, self-esteem, trying to get to the point of self-actualization where we all are trying to get to. But we teach them that. Then we move on to the male mentorship program, which again, very important. Men are going through a tough time. I do not know a single man that is not suppressing his hurt, his dreams, his desires. Then there's the male mentorship program. The male mentorship program is such an important program because men are going through a tough time at the moment. It's difficult. It's tough out there. And you know, if you're mediocre, you're finding it hard to navigate the world. So at the end of the day, we need to excel. But
and I mean, when you talk of this, about male mentorship, it's so important because if you look at the way the world is operating, it's almost emasculating us, right?
100%.
Because, I mean, with this whole view of this LGBTQI, and the whole role of a man and a woman is becoming blurred. And that's where the challenges are coming in.
Definitely.
So men are going through a lot.
They really are. You know, it takes me back to the tafsir of Surah Yusuf, which I absolutely love. In the starting of Surah Yusuf, Hazrat Yusuf sees the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars bowing down to him. And it's a strange dream that we can't understand. But at the end of Surah Yusuf, he has his father, his mother, and the 11 siblings bowing down to him. And if we look at that deeply and understand it, that the sun, what it gives off is energy, warmth, life, light. It makes you feel completely safe in the day. You can see everything that's going on. You feel protected. You don't feel unsafe in the day. That's the role of a father. Because the father is the sun in that dream. The mother's like the moon. And the moon is beautiful and it's bright and it brings noor and calmness. And when the sun's doing its duty and the moon is doing the duty, the stars shine at its brightest.
Beautiful.
But the minute the moon and the sun cross paths and there's an eclipse, there's absolutely no stars. And that's the situation we have right now. Teaching men to become the sun of their household again, to pick themselves up, take their rightful place on the mantle as protector and maintainer. And when we can understand that as men, that this is our duty, maybe then we'll feel better again. And this is what the male mentorship program is about. Bringing men out from this depths of despair, feeling like they are right at the bottom, to feel like a man again, and to take their rightful place, that a woman needs a man by her side. And when she has that man, she will perform her duties to the best of her ability, and the household will be at its fullest. And this is what I want men to understand. We do not need to suppress everything. I am there to help them speak about it, understand why you are feeling this way. Again, the nervous system, why it's wired this way, your reactions, why are you reacting this way, your behavior, why are you feeling this way, why are you doing any of these things, addictions that you may be dealing with, what has led you to these addictions. Let us do all of that. You know, I always believe when we are born, we are like a box of Lego. It's all broken up inside, and it comes with this manual inside to put it together. But our parents, not healing from their traumas, they think they knew what was best for us at that moment. They threw the manual away and they put this Lego together.
As best they could.
As best they could. They thought they did the most wonderful job. And alhamdulillah, we are grateful to our parents because without them, we would not be where we are today. But the Lego is it's like the form that we do not need. So what we need to do is learn, find our manual, understand what we were supposed to be and the shape we were supposed to be. And this is our duty as a human being. This is our duty to then take each piece and put it in its correct place, to become a form that we can understand. A form, yes, we're going to falter. Yes, this piece might not fit here and you're trying to push it in. But when we understand that this is who we are and we use this metaphor of life, maybe we can understand why we're behaving the way we're behaving. And this is what I do with men. It's a 6-week program. We do once a week or twice a week, depending on how severe the actual case is. But we dive into the mind. We understand the body. We try and heal the soul, and we bring it all together in the male mentorship program. Then that leads me on to the corporate talks and executive leadership programs, which teach managers and leaders. Because to become a manager, you have to be great at your job. And you're amazing, you're phenomenal, and then all of a sudden you're a manager who does not have to do their job anymore. Your job is to manage people that are doing the job you love. So how do you handle that? What do you need to do to understand a person's body language, to understand why a person's work is not up to scratch, to understand what is needed to motivate your team, to give them the metaphorical hug when they need that hug, the high five when they need the high five, to push them, to reprimand them in a specific way where they do not feel belittled. And then your team will die for you.
And you've done some training on that, right? On neuroscience and all of that.
So in the psychology degree, of course, we've worked on neuroplasticity, understanding how the mind is like plastic and it can be remolded, but it does take some work, lots and lots of work, understanding the neuroscience behind everything, why your nervous system does what it does, why your sympathetic nervous system is always so high and your parasympathetic nervous system is too low, and you do not have this homeostasis. That is what we want to figure out. And we're going to bring you to that point of calmness, stillness, and peace.
And you know, I hope you as a viewer can feel the energy, because you've got to meet Mo to really pick up. There's one thing that everyone says. You talk of that parasympathetic
And sympathetic
and then that balance, that homeostasis. I mean, you exude that, right? There's just a tremendous energy, and what we term in Arabic nur, that projects from you. And I think now you've given me, for the first time, you give me the science behind nur, right? Is where the parasympathetic and the sympathetic is in homeostasis. Right. And that's where this nur is projected. So, wow, powerful, very, very powerful. We've come to the end of this segment, and as we traverse to the last segment, we want to understand where to for brand motivation, where to for Mo, and how you can really impact people, and how you as a viewer can be impacted by motivation. Immediately after the break. You are watching Inspirate Business, and we are really being mesmerized by this infectious energy of motivation. Learning so much about your story, through the trials and tribulations, how you got into the mind, the body, excellence, how you have this such passion for what you do and wanting to share this with so many. Now, your core is the body training. People come and train with you, transform their bodies. There's the mind aspect to it. You're now imparting this onto the youth programs. You're imparting this onto this male program, which is so required today. I think many have seen the Al Qassam Brigade, young men that are so brave and courageous, and are wanting to know what is it about them. And I think it's because of the void of that male energy, because of just the way the world is operating.
Yes.
And bringing out that strength, and the way the Prophet ﷺ operated, that assertively loving spirit that he exuded. And then, of course, now your executive leadership, so corporate training. You also do training at schools, right? And a lot of the Islamic schools, as well as other schools as well. So as we close the show, and before I'm going to ask you about some messages for the viewers, how does one get to connect with you on these programs? And how do you, let's just get into a little bit of detail around each of the programs. How do you actually conduct them? Are they one-to-ones? Are they at a separate venue, at corporate venues? How do you go about doing
So
it?
from the physical aspect, of course, like I said, everything is bespoke training program. So it's designed specifically for you. So if you contact me, we will have a session. You come in for a training session, and then I see your fitness level and I design your program accordingly. When it comes to youth mentorship program, of course, the parents contact me for the children. Again, I'll assess the child. I'll have a look at exactly what is needed for him, design his program according to exactly what is required for him, turn them, him or her for that matter, and turn them into the future leaders of our country, the future leaders of our world, the future leaders of our ummah, inshallah. And third one, the schools. Of course, I go out to schools. It ties up with the youth mentorship program, talking to kids exactly what had happened to me when I was in grade 10. Going to schools, talking there, trying to inspire kids. So if a school wants to get hold of me, they can contact me. I'll share, of course, all the information as well. From a corporate point of view, there are two aspects. One where we do one-on-one management training, or I come out and I give a talk to the corporate, to the management team of the corporate in terms of how to handle their leadership. There are methods, there are tools that I equip them with, and hopefully that can help their business become successful. They can become successful in what they do, and of course, create an amazing team around it. And then when it comes to the male mentorship program, this is solely one-on-one for 1 hour a week or 2 hours a week, depending on the package that you want to take. This one here is very in-depth. I want men to feel that it's a safe space to be able to say exactly what they need to say, ask for advice, a non-judgmental space. And of course, it's a space where whatever they say is confidential. It will not be spoken about to anyone. It's a very, very one-on-one, private, sort of like if you were speaking to yourself. All I am there is sitting and I'm reflecting who you are. And you're speaking to yourself and you're seeing all of this come out and you're understanding yourself a lot better. So if anyone wants to get hold of me, Instagram is the best place to do it. You'll find me at Motivation SA. That's Motivation SA. You'll get me on Facebook at Motivation SA. And if you want to email me, it's motivationsa@gmail.com. I will respond to all of it. I will definitely get back to you, and we will, inshallah, be able to meet one day and basically heal ourselves. Because if you heal yourself, your household heals. If the household heals, the neighborhood heals. If the neighborhood heals, the community heals. If the community heals, the country heals. And if the country heals, the world heals. And that's where it starts. It starts with you. So you have to take that first step.
And no matter what your challenge is, right? And you have shared very passionately with us, and we appreciate that. Your own challenges that you went through, and how you overcame them, just by adopting these principles and constantly being this sponge for growth and learning and putting yourself out there. You have to start.
Yes.
Right? You can't expect it to happen when you sit in. And so whoever is out there, whatever challenge you may be going through, and I think that's what we're trying to do with the show as well, is to help with the healing.
Yes.
Yeah, so as we come toward the end of the show, some message, for viewers out there that may be going through some pain. There could be a marital issue, there could be business-related issues, financial challenges, health challenges. There's so many of these dynamics that people go through, and people quietly suffer unnecessarily, because also this world that we live in today has made us become so isolated. So it's also almost that you feel embarrassed, I think, sometimes to be able to share, whereas before it was about community, you said, and there was always community people to help you. Sadly, with the connectivity technologically, we've actually become more isolated. So what would be some of the, some key advice, some pearls of wisdom that you can share?
Yusuf, I was in Medina in January 2023. I met this most amazing gentleman there from Australia, studying at the University of Medina, studying fiqh and hadith, getting his master's in fiqh and hadith. And he left me with some profound advice that really made me think. He said that one of our predecessors used to walk around with an ink pot and his feather till he was 80 odd years old, and nearing his end of his time. And the people would ask him, "You've written so many amazing books and you've shared so much knowledge, but why? I mean, you know everything." And he said, "With the ink pot to the grave, always seek knowledge no matter what, because you do not know everything and you will never know everything. Seek it." But then he went further on to say there are three types of people with knowledge. One is like a well filled to the top but closed. Nobody can access it.
Nobody sharing. He's not sharing.
Not sharing it, keeping it to himself, zero benefit to the world. The second one is like a well filled to the top, but you have to come to the well to get the water. So shares it with whoever he interacts with. So benefits a few people, but that's it. But then there's the third one that's like the rain cloud and spreads the water all over the land. Always be the rain cloud. When you are sharing knowledge, always be the rain cloud. And then he talks about three types of hearts that receive knowledge. The first type of heart is hard as a stone. And when the water falls on it, it just washes off and nothing sets into that heart. The second type is like a desert sand. Water goes, it wets it for a bit. You feel motivated for a bit and then boom, gone. Absolutely no benefit to you or anyone else. But the third one is like a fertile land. And it might be still at that moment, but when the water falls on it, the heart rumbles, opens up, absorbs the water, and out comes these beautiful trees with amazing fruit that he then shares with the world. Always be that heart. So it's so vital to seek information, to seek knowledge, to put it into action and to share it with the world. And that is my mission, to share as much of my knowledge, the limited knowledge that I have, but to share it with the world.
And that's so powerful. I mean, it creates, I'm just picturing this positive cycle with putting yourself out there, learning, growing, getting into an uncomfortable position, growing, learning, and then sharing. And this becomes a positive cycle for humanity.
Yeah.
And starting with yourself, and as you said, impacting your family, your communities, and ultimately humanity. And it's so required today. But we've got a few seconds left. What you're providing for is, with all that we experience every day, all the negativity, we see what's happening in Gaza, the dismal aspects from an economic side of things, socially, there's hope. And that's what we taught as Muslims.
Definitely.
And it's, however, you have to put yourself out there. And what you say about the resistance, right? Go against the resistance.
Yes.
And when you do that, that's when growth takes place.
Definitely.
We've come now to the end of this wonderful show. I am so glad we've had you. We've been wanting to. It's now, I think, the 41st show that we've had you. So Allah has always got the right timing for when we meet. Shukran. And we, on behalf of the Inspirate Business Show, wish you all the best in your endeavors. There's so much that you can connect with the motivation on. To summarize, it's his training programs. I want to get back onto that. I do go to the gym, but I want to actually put myself out there. There's the youth programs from those that are 8 right up to 18, 21. There's the male mentorship program. And then, of course, there's the training at schools as well as executive mentorship one-on-one or as groups. You can connect with Motivation on the handles below. We wish you all the best. May Allah always be at your protection and guide you as you traverse into the future.
Amin. Amin. Thank you, Yusuf.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.